Arizona is pro sports retirement.
You had no chance with Kelly Kapowski.
We don't make mistakes, just happy little accidents.
You only live once. One wild on you. Who would have seen this coming? Oh yeah, he's rank on tackling dummies.
Tackling Dummies, what's going on? James Coe here with you, joined alongside, as always, by my dude, Adam Rank. Adam Rank, how you doing, man?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much, Axel. No, I'm just kidding. No, I love, you know what? The thing that I love the most is that this will always give everybody the James Coe experience of like, what time is it now? What time did I retweet your thing? It's 9. It's like showing up at the golf course with a t-shirt and a backwards ball cap. But it's all good. This is why I love you, though. This is why I love you. Seriously,
it's so typical. First of all, we were supposed to go on at 10 o'clock, and
I know I had to bump it.
Adam Rank texted me and said, you know, we got to bump it up, and I'm like, oh yeah, sure, 9 o'clock, 100%, I can do that, no problem, no doubt. You know,
always seems good in theory, but then you're like, oh wait, what's happening? You know what's funny is our buddy Patty O, Flat Bill Patty, who Flat Bill Patty, who joined the show, who loves it. He actually, because I know him personally, obviously.
Okay,
and he texted me. Actually, he called me yesterday, and he's talking about how much he enjoys the show. And I'm like, oh yeah,
that's great.
I'm already working over the schedule because wait, now I'm clearly the diva, so I know that I was throwing some shade at James there to start. It is all my fault. Like, we had this locked in, but at some point, I do have one employer who kind of trumps everybody. So you're like, okay,
yes,
I have to go do that. It's like if you're a professional wrestler and if Tony Khan was letting you appear at some indie shows, and then all of a sudden he's like, no, I need you on Wednesday night. Well, you got to go do Dynamite. So that's what That's what's happening here. So I appreciate everybody. Subscribe, by the way. Hit that subscribe button right below me. Hey, I have a YouTube page as well. So
that's right. Subscribe to Adam Rank's page. He actually has way more content than my page, so I would fully endorse that. Hey, let's get the show on the road, man. But we're going to obviously break down the Sam Darnold trade, and we'll talk about some other things as well. Mostly, how about Sammy Watkins just coming out, guns blazing, just taking a blowtorch, and just blowtorching the wide receiver room there in Baltimore. We're going to talk about his comments and what does that all mean. Big deal, not a big deal. I don't know. We shall see. But we'll start the show. I mean, the football world is ablaze right now with this Sam Darnold trade. Carolina Panthers, they moved 2 second-round picks. A 1 second-round pick, a 4th, and a 6th to go get the former top 3 pick in Sam Darnold. Let's talk winners and losers, Adam Rank. Give me some winners and losers in this Sam Darnold trade.
You know, the only loser, and this is, I use this in quotes because I'm pretty confident, and I know that you said this when the trade initially happened for the 49ers, they've got to be confident in one of 2 quarterbacks, or 3 if you include Trevor Lawrence. The 49ers know what they're getting or who they're getting or who they're choosing through. So I think that's it's a mild loss for them, but not really, because if not the Jets, then somebody was going to jump up and take a quarterback. So you already knew you were getting one of the top 3. So I look at this whole situation, and I don't think that there's a loser anywhere. I mean, maybe Teddy Bridgewater, like that's got to blow. You're like, you know what, Teddy, they're going to draft a quarterback if they didn't make this trade. So listen, you weren't.
Right, exactly.
I apologize to you. I'm a huge fan of Teddy Bridgewater, but unfortunately, the Panthers look like they were moving on. And I love it. I don't know really where to focus in on because there's so much cool stuff going on. So I'll just talk about the Panthers for a moment. I love this for Sam Darnold. And I believe that we said this on the show. If I didn't say it on this show, I said it on my shows or whatever. I'm a big believer in Sam Darnold. I just believe that the Jets needed to start over because you want to have a quarterback on his rookie deal. It's fine. Yep. Give Robert Saleh some time to really grow. And for Sam Darnold, it's a chance to start anew. And it's funny to me because the reaction to Sam Darnold is so polarizing. It's like
very polarizing.
It's like the movie San Andreas. There are people who find it to be like the greatest piece of art of the last 20 years. And then on the other side, there are people who just think it's a fantastic movie. You know, like it's polarizing like that, where it's two very, very different ways. People are like, oh, well, is Sam Darnold Johnny Unitas all of a sudden? Is he Joe Montana? And then there's people who are like, he's washed up because he's never had a great season in the NFL. He's like, there's no in the middle. Like maybe he's just a young man who never really got an opportunity to show what he could do on the NFL level. And now he's going to a situation where he's going to play with Joe Brady, who will be his offensive coordinator. Matt Rule's already looked like he knows what he's doing on the NFL level. You've got some quality talent around him with DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey. There's an opportunity for them at number 8, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, to select another playmaker, or at least fortify the offensive line. I think this is, I think the right way to look at this is it's an opportunity for him to finally prove what he can do. Like, it's not like, I don't know if somebody was doing this sarcastically, because I didn't bother to look up the numbers. Like, have you ever seen anybody in a situation like this who's gone on to be successful in the NFL? And I'm like, how about the guy who he's sort of like, not replaced, but like Ryan Tannehill gave the playbook of like going from Adam Gase, playing for a team in the South, and then being a competent Pro Bowl level quarterback. I'm not saying that he's going to be Tom Brady, but it's like, no, we've exactly. I hope that the gist of whoever tweeted that out, that's what that was, and it might have been. It wasn't. If I don't think
it was.
I know.
I think I saw that tweet and I was like,
it is the internet, and I know the internet is not known for its subtlety.
No.
So, unfortunately,
I agree with you, man.
But I like this move.
I feel like the Ryan Tannehill is such a great comp. You know, it's like it's a great incomplete on Sam Darnold. And I know we talked about this last week, but it's like, how are we somehow we're downplaying the Adam Gase effect on Sam Darnold of all people, you know? It's like, look, we're talking about a quarterback that absolutely needed to develop coming out of USC regardless. And I think we can all agree on that. Look, the guy, I'm not saying he was a project. I mean, the dude was a top 3 pick. He can make every throw. We know that, but he needed to develop up here a little bit. And when you got Adam Gase running the show, makes it pretty tough, you know? And then you think about, too, the step backs that he's had in his development, whether it was injuries or that random bout of mono that knocked him out for, 6 weeks or whatever it was. The guy has had some setbacks, and I truly believe, when you look at his weapons, too, like, he really hasn't had great weapons either. I mean, we love Robbie Anderson, but I think we can all agree he's not necessarily this dominant pass catcher, right? So I think he's going to get with Matt Rule, Joe Brady, a great coaching staff from what we saw last year. And he's got some playmakers now, man. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield. Are you kidding me? Come on, bro. Like, all of a sudden, Sam Darnold not only has his situation improved, his coaching has improved, the playmakers around him improved. So, yeah, it's a great incomplete on Sam Darnold. Now, I'm not necessarily saying he is going to be the savior for this franchise, but I think he's a step up from Teddy Bridgewater, and I think he's going to be a huge step up. He's a huge winner in all of this. But, Adam, I'll give you a follow-up question, though.
Okay.
Did the Jets get enough, a second, a fourth, and a sixth, for a guy that was a top 3 pick in 2018?
That is one of the things that scares me, because it does go to the evaluation that people around the league are giving to Sam Darnold. And, it also lends itself to what Mitch Trubisky, a lot of people, especially Chicago in the Mitch Trubisky marks, are like, well, this guy could go and start in the league. And it's like, he signed a backup deal in Buffalo. The league showed you what they thought of him.
Right.
You look at what the 49ers paid just to move up to number 3. And if you compare it to Sam Darnold, then you're like, yeah, the Jets really didn't get a lot. But you also have to understand the Jets are not really negotiating from a position of strength. Now, it must be known within league circles that the Jets are going quarterback. That drives down the price a little bit. It is kind of like, having to sell a house with a contingency. Like, you're like, well, we've got Southern California, doesn't matter. But in some places, like, hey, I know you have to move. So, you know what? You are going to waive these fees, or you're going to do this. And so that probably prevented them from going and getting, a higher deal. Plus, the thing with Sam Darnold, too, is that his one of his most attractive qualities of playing on that first year contract, like, this is it. Like, you're going to have to decide, the Panthers are going to have to decide right away whether they're going to offer him the 5th-year option. And so I do believe that drove down the price a little bit. So, I think that fans look at this and be like, we should get like 2 firsts for him. Like fans are the guys who are like, Sam Darnold sucks, but let's flip him for a couple first round picks. Like you understand what this is saying, right? Like,
exactly,
what are you doing?
Exactly. Right.
What are you doing? You know what though? Yeah. So I don't know how you feel about it, but let me talk to you about the draft for a second.
Okay. All right.
Now you mentioned that Sam Darnold might not be the savior in Carolina. The Panthers had been rumored to draft a quarterback. They can't still draft a quarterback though, right?
I mean, you're thinking Sam Darnold here, a former number 3 overall pick, not even that long ago in 2018. You know what I'm talking about? So clearly they moved a lot of capital to go get Sam Darnold. Now, obviously it wasn't, necessarily a first round pick, but a second, a fourth, and a sixth. You moved a little bit of pieces here. You exercised that 50-year option. So clearly you are committed, Panthers, to Sam Darnold. But no. I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, man, the Carolina Panthers at number 8 should be thinking about a quarterback here because I think that Justin Fields or Trey Lance will be available for them at number 8. I mean, you take a look at the draft order here, and to me, I think there's a clear path. 1, 2, 3. Obviously, you're thinking quarterback here, but there's 4, I guess, consensus really good quarterbacks, right? Is Atlanta going to take one? Cincinnati's definitely not going to take one. Miami has made it clear they're not going to take one. Detroit just made that move for Jared Goff. Are they going to get aggressive and think about quarterback? Maybe. And that might be that one pick.
If Justin Fields is at 7, there's no way the Lions pass him.
You think?
No way. You can't.
No way.
Well, and if not the Lions, they would have to trade out of it. And they would have to let a team come up and get him. Because if I don't know if I've been talking about this for so long. Jared Goff is not like, I think Jared Goff is a quarterback that does not preclude you from drafting a quarterback in this instance where you're like, yeah, let's go. Like, we kind of know, like, we've seen Jared Goff a lot more than we've seen of Sam Darnold. And so I think that the Lions would be more apt to do that. I think the Panthers, I don't know, not to interrupt you, but the Panthers to me.
But you will.
Well, this is the thing is I honestly don't believe, I think outside of Trevor Lawrence that every one of these quarterbacks is a risk. We could end up looking back at this draft and being like, remember in 2021 when like 5 quarterbacks went in the first round and all of them except for Lawrence were terrible? Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility. We've seen it happen in recent NFL history.
Yeah, but I think it's a little bit different, right?
Just look from 2017 on. No,
Justin Fields is the real deal. Zach Wilson, to me, I think
so?
is the absolute real deal. Now, I don't know enough about Trey Lance, but can I just say this? How are they getting all these big, strong country kids, man? North Dakota State. Like, what's going on? Like, Cal hasn't had a good quarterback since, like, the first Bush was an administrator. Like, we had Aaron Rodgers and then nothing. Like, can we get this? Can we get Trey Lance to come to Cal? Like, what's going on here? How does North Dakota State keep getting these dudes? Like, big, strong kid, good arm. Anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent. I don't really know, but I think Trey Lance has got a lot of good upside as well. And again, when I look at Justin Fields, I'm like, this guy can play, boy. This guy can absolutely play.
But they're not more certain than Sam Darnold. They're of the same level. So now, let's say that Teddy Bridgewater is going to be your backup quarterback. Do you want to have a quarterback room of Sam Darnold, Teddy Bridgewater, and a 8th overall pick? That's a recipe for disaster. Why not go out there and draft an offensive lineman if it's the kid from Oregon who falls that low? Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, Kyle Pitts. Go out and improve your offense. They spent so much capital last year on the defensive side of the football. This is when they have to invest in the offense. And I do believe that going out and getting Sam Darnold, you've said, and by the way, Rumble Boys, his ceiling is not game manager. I don't think you understand what the phrase ceiling means. That's the bare minimum. That's kind of like, yeah, maybe. Like, his ceiling is elite NFL quarterback. I would say this. You've made a commitment right now for Sam Darnold. Unless Trevor Lawrence falls to number 8, I would not look at a quarterback. I would look at surrounding the players that you have right now, and I think that there's a chance for them to start making a run. Atlanta's down. New Orleans could take a step back. Carolina could be in the mix. And with 7 teams making the playoffs, you're not that far away. Go for it. Go get one of these playmakers. Line them up with DJ Moore, and let's go. Like I think it would be irresponsible to take a quarterback at number 8. I would find them. I think the commissioner start fighting people. Like, that's an irresponsible pick.
That's a bad pick. That's a bad pick, bro.
I do think, though, what they need to do, I think they should let people believe that they would still draft a quarterback.
Right.
Like, I know I would be talking to DJ and all those people and be like, yep, we're thinking about a quarterback still. So the Broncos get nervous. So the Patriots get nervous. At some point, the Bears might even have to get into the mix and start thinking about it. The more and more that I think about it, though, is, I don't know. I think that 4th pick is going to be the biggest. I think that's going to be the biggest one. If the Falcons don't take a player and they trade out of it, then it's over. Then the top 4 quarterbacks are gone. It would be, I believe it would be unprecedented. I can't remember a draft where 4 quarterbacks.
And if you're Atlanta, I think if you're Atlanta too, I think this move should help kind of move the needle a little bit, right? In terms of draft price and all those things to move up to 4. You got to jump some of these guys, man, if you're thinking about quarterback. And again, I think there are 4 very attractive quarterbacks here in the NFL draft. But just to your point, Adam, right? Look, what's great about what Carolina is at right now at number 8, it's kind of like being in like the number 6 hole in your fantasy draft. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like, okay, if one of the top players, if somebody messes up, ahead of me, then we can grab that quarterback that we want. But if they don't, and it kind of just falls to me, I'm going to let the draft kind of fall to me. And right now they've got some holes, right? Like Jamar Chase will be somewhere in that mix. Kyle Pitts will be somewhere in that. I get it. You know, these guys will probably be gone, right? But they're somewhere in the mix. The kid from Oregon, as you said, Penei Sewell, I believe is how you say his name.
Sewell,
boy. I mean, you talk about a good player. I mean, left tackle right there is an absolute need for Carolina right now. Remember, they lost their left tackle in free agency. I mean, I guess he's still a free agent out there, so they could bring him back. They've got Moton, who they, franchise tag, and pairing up Sewell with Moton on those bookend tackles. Oh my goodness, you're set for the next 5 or 6 years. But you're right, Devontae Smith out of Alabama. I mean, hell, if they wanted to go, I know, and I feel so old saying it, but Patrick Surtain, baby. They need a cornerback badly. And Patrick Surtain could be the real deal, too. So really can't go wrong at the number 8 pick.
By the way, Patrick Surtain is such a good player. I know when I was doing my mock draft with a twist where I was encouraging teams, telling them what they should do. Like, I don't make predictions on this. Like, this is why the 49er fans got so mad at me is I was like, let's just put Mac Jones here. Literally in the story, I said, I'm putting Mac Jones here as a placeholder because I know that Kyle Shanahan had a lot of success with Matt Ryan, but 49, and I'm addressing these teams. I'm like, 49ers, pick the quarterback that you want. And then all these 49er fans come out, like, what do you mean, Mac? I'm like, I told you, number 1, it's not a prediction. Number 2, I said it and the last line says, pick the quarterback that you want. And the guy goes, this guy, yeah, but it was the last line. I'm like, I'm sorry I made you read a paragraph. I know it was very and honestly, when people look at mock drafts, you don't read every team's. You just go to your team.
You go.
All I asked you to do.
Right. Exactly.
All I asked you to do is read the intro, read the paragraph on your team, and then if you want to come in, because I would just be an ass to everybody. Excuse me, I don't know if we can work blue here, but I would just be a jerk to everybody and be like, hey, you don't want them to draft a quarterback? Oh no, but I'm like, yeah, exactly what I said. Like, take the quarterback that you want. So I don't even remember what my point was, other than to just get mad at people on Twitter. I've been upset at people on Twitter.
Yeah. Have you?
Yeah, I've had issues with some. There's like different things going on. They go after my pal Sammy Stacks. They go after Otani, and I'm upset about that. Like, by the way, I know I'm sidebarring.
Don't go after Otani.
By people like they acted like on Sunday night when he got hurt. First of all, they were too gleeful with it. And I had to go out and point, and of all people, Ben Verlander is the one backing me up. I'm like, you know that Shohei Ohtani struck out the final batter that he faced, and Max Stassi couldn't hold on to the ball. But I'll be doing an Angels podcast on Friday, so I will.
You're going to unload the.
I will unload more of that there. I think my point was with Patrick Surtain is I told the Broncos that if you start missing out on all these quarterbacks, because I really do believe they're going to have to trade up to get one of those elite level quarterbacks.
Oh yeah.
I think if the Broncos, like I know that however they feel about Drew Lock, maybe go make a deal for another quarterback. I don't know. Take a guy in the second round. If the Broncos drafted Patrick Surtain, and I know that they signed Kyle Fuller, and I know they signed who they signed in free agency, because I think Kyle Fuller can move to safety at some point. And God, if you got Patrick Surtain, you're in the AFC West with Patrick Mahomes. Like I would draft every like I believe they're the first AFC West team to draft. Like you got with Mahomes and Herbert. Like go draft another quarter.
Go get a corner.
Get 3. I don't care if Kyle Fuller's signed for 30 years. Go get another corner. And Bronco fans were so upset, and I'm like, I explicitly said. In this piece, if you can trade up for a quarterback, go do that.
Do it.
But if you're still sitting there at 9 and all these quarterbacks have come off the board, I would draft Patrick Surtain. And that's just the way I would deal with it.
I think Denver and Atlanta feel like a very good match right now in terms of trying to move up into the draft because Atlanta is shopping that pick. And Denver, man, listen, Drew Lock, he is a fun backup. That's all he is. You know what I mean? He was one of, by all statistical measures, I don't care what you want to look at. You want to look at traditional stats. You want to look at next-gen stats. And I can break that all down. But my dude, Drew Lock, was one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the NFL, period. I think he's a really fun, really exciting backup. And that's it. But they absolutely need an answer there. As a starting quarterback.
He's a bachelor party friend. Like, you know, I don't know if you remember bachelor parties, but you would go and there would be like a cousin, like nobody knew. Like, oh, and like your friend Neil's like, hey, my cousin's coming out from Iowa. And you're like, because that's always the wild card. Because you don't know, that guy's either going to be a nightmare or he's going to win the day. Because there's no in between with that person.
No in between.
Nope. I think Drew Lock is that person. And Drew, he's the guy who's like really fun at first. You're like, oh my God, this guy's great. And then after like a couple of Jaeger bombs, you're like, we're going to ditch this guy at Excalibur.
Oh, boy.
And let's go.
Dumb or smart, Adam Rank, we shall move on. Sammy Watkins calling out his Baltimore teammates, and specifically the pass catchers. I've got the quote right here. I'll pull it up. Everybody wasn't getting open. It takes guys getting open to be great and look great and be the Patrick Mahomeses and the Tom Brady's of the world. He's talking about how the Baltimore Ravens pass catchers need to get open for Lamar Jackson to be a great passer. Dumb or smart, Sammy Watkins walking in day one with a flamethrower.
The theory of what Sammy Watkins is doing is smart. The person who is doing it is not. If Julio Jones was traded to the Ravens and started dropping those, started saying that, like in that room, I would be like, oh my God, like I better get my S together. Julio Jones, one of the best receivers in the game. Like I'm going to listen to him. But when it's coming from Sammy Watkins, it's going to be like, who the F are you? What? You might not even make the cut, bro. Like, who are you talking to me? Like, if I showed up at Augusta tomorrow and I'm wearing a white belt and I'm trying to tell Sergio Garcia how to hit the fade, I think Sergio would look at me and be like, shut up, bro. Like, I'm not listening to you. And I think that that's what's going to be happening with Sammy Watkins. Stop it, Sammy. I don't know. Like, God bless Sammy Watkins for thinking that he has that kind of juice to walk into a locker room and start just throwing that around. Like Tom Brady, when he showed up in Tampa last year, if he started getting after Mike Evans and those guys, like, oh, okay, it's Tom Brady. Like, I should probably listen to this person.
Right.
Sammy Watkins. Bro, you're going to be, we're going to trade you for a 5th round pick in August. So why don't you keep your comments to yourself? but I appreciate you trying to take that leadership role.
I mean, Sammy Watkins.
No disrespect, by the way, to Sammy Watkins.
You know what? That's a great point. Let me start by saying I actually like Sammy Watkins as a role player. I really do, and I think it's a good fit. I like what they're doing there with Baltimore, signing Sammy Watkins to a low risk, low money deal. And I think it was a good move. I think it was a good move for both sides, quite honestly. Sammy Watkins goes to a very high profile team, keeps his name in the mix. And he's still a relatively young man. He signed a 1-year deal. So, he's going to be looking at free agency in the very near future once again. And he wants to stay relevant, and signing with Baltimore, I think makes a whole hell of a lot of sense for Sammy Watkins. I think it made a whole hell of a lot of sense for Baltimore. But my man, Sammy, my dude, what are you doing, bro? It's day one. It's day one. Like, can we at least get a couple training camp sessions in? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, my dude, Sammy Watkins has one career 1,000-yard season. One. And this is despite playing in a Sean McVay offense. This is despite playing with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid for 3 seasons. My dude's got a 1,000-yard season. Guy, what are you doing?
He was the guy who twisted up Sherman in the Super Bowl, though, right? Is that what it's all? Right? Is that he was? Am I thinking of that correctly? I was hammered during that Super Bowl.
Speaking of Sherman, I mean, like, if we're to compare resumes, Sammy Watkins or Michael Crabtree,
yeah,
it's Michael. I think it might be Michael Crabtree. Quite honestly,
like as an overall receiver,
I mean, that's the level that we're talking about here. Like a Michael Crabtree type of, he played for Baltimore too, which is funny, but we're talking about that level of receiver coming in and just laying waste to guys like Hollywood Brown, You're like, oh, man. And listen, I don't want to make it seem like Hollywood Brown had a good season. He did not.
Right. He wasn't bad.
And said,
what does our guy Harmon say about
this? I think he says that Hollywood suffered from a lot of drops. And Harmon never in reception. Go to reception.com.
Drops don't matter.
Drops don't matter.
That's my favorite Harmonism.
Drops do not matter. And he is absolutely a zealot when it comes to saying drops do not matter. And I am of slightly different ilk. I think drops do matter, and Hollywood had a lot of bad drops. So did Mark Andrews, by the way. Mark Andrews had a lot of bad drops too. And there's a reason why Baltimore. By the way, guess who our League of League passing
tight end is?
Is it Mark Andrews?
Yeah, it is.
Sorry. You know what? I like it though. No, I like it though because I think he's going to have a little bit of a bounce back season. So, anyways, I think it's not a smart move. I think it's a dumb move by Sammy Watkins to come through and just drop hammers on people.
It is crazy. I think he did turn him around, but when you brought up Crabtree, it just reminds me of, and I think that as I watch Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, and I'm a big Jim Harbaugh guy, I like him, but I still look back at that Super Bowl against the Ravens, and I'm like, how the F do you just not, I would do if, I know it's a Madden. I know we love Madden. If you're near the goal line, I don't know how you're not dialing up for whatever, Colin, just go win us the football game, please. If you think throwing it to Crabtree is the way to go, which is fine. And I don't know. I just think that having, it just irritates me some more. And my wife's sort of a 49ers fan. And I was sitting in that end zone of the Super Bowl and I'm like, dude, they're going to Colin Kaepernick. It's going to run this ball in right now. I'm like, the first time you're like, why is he throwing this? The second time, why is he throwing this?
Right.
Why is he throwing this?
Just run it, my guy. Just run it, my guy.
Frank Gore was on that team too. You know what though? The whole reason I think about that, because I think of, I'm going off rundown here. I just think of Michael Crabtree has been one of my favorite. I just love the way Michael Crabtree plays. And I think that if he had that a Super Bowl win, that he would have had a little bit more people would.
Oh, it changes the narrative totally.
So much.
I mean, it's sad. You know him for the chain pulls now, which is really sad. By the way, I want to say what's up to the chat here. That one dude 2020 coming through. Rum Boys of course coming through. Tyler Chartier coming through. Scott Cobe coming through. Hey man, How about MG, my guy, Marcus Grant coming through?
That's got to be. I want that. I want that verified. I want that verified. That's a fake account.
Well, look, the comment I think
Scott
verifies
Cobe has been pretty big.
Yeah. Put some respect on Davis Webb's name, Co. That's how you know it's truly MG.
That's true.
That's how you know. That's how you know. By the way, I know we had some things on the rundown here, but you know what? I'm going to go off rundown myself. Got a little bit of a surprise segment here for my dude, Adam Rank, because it was Masters Week. It was Masters Week.
Oh, look at that.
And we went to go play golf for the very first time. And a little bit of a backstory. I've known Adam Rank for years and years now. We're buddies. We text. We've had fantasy teams, co-managed them, and we're pals. We talk on the regular. It's fine. Like we talk about each other's kids, our families. But it was for the very first time we actually hit the links. And of course, Adam Rank, a very good golfer, I would say.
No. I played I played like ass that day too.
He's an above average player. And the other thing you got to know about Adam Rank, he never, ever gets upset about anything. Most even-keeled, chill dude you will ever meet. Let's break down this swing from Adam Rank. It's the Rank shank. That's what we're calling it.
That's a John Rahm like backswing too, by the way.
And my dude absolutely shanks it.
I didn't. No. I play that again. I fade the ball. I'm trying to draw the ball, but I come around too much.
Break it down.
Yeah, I came around a little bit.
And it flies straight right.
No, it goes.
Now listen for it. Listen for it.
It goes straight down that line. It does not draw at all. There's a wind. There's a wind at my back as well. Like the whole preceding this is I hit a 7-iron shot that I piped and ended up 20 yards from the green because you couldn't hit. I couldn't hit a ball at 132 with a 7-iron because the wind was blowing so hard. So I ended up. So what I did there was I took out my 60 from about 100. Which I still should have probably picked out a bigger club. And then I hit it perfectly straight.
And right over the fence.
Bro, it is it's on that dark line that you see right there. But that's not where the green is. The green is to the left. That ball went completely straight. No fade, no draw, excuse me. I was trying to draw the ball.
It's the only time in my life I have ever seen Adam Rank upset. And it's funny because I'm the guy shooting the video. I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to do a nice thing for Adam Rank here. I'm going to shoot some slow-mo video for you because, hey, listen, anyone who plays golf, man, like it's like you kind of wish you kind of sort of knew a little bit more what your swing looked like. And so whenever somebody does take that slow motion video of your swing, you're like, oh, that's great, thanks, man. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do a nice thing for Adam Rank here. I'm going to take a little slow-mo video. And of course, it's his worst shot of the afternoon, man. He just shanks that thing to the right, and I was like, and you saw the camera dip. I was trying so hard not to laugh, man.
Not to laugh, yeah.
Oh my God, but inside I was dying. I'm like, oh my God, this is the best. I can't believe I got this on camera.
By the way, can I also point out that I parred that hole? I ran an 8-iron up about 3 feet from the pin and didn't take the gimme. I knocked it in. I parred it. So I hit it straight. The worst one was the par 5. Like I was telling these kids yesterday, cause I got a new 5-wood from Strixon and I've tried out a lot of different clubs and Strixon I really have enjoyed. Their irons have always been good, but now I'm really starting to like their woods. So I got a 5-wood because I need it. There's one shot on my home course in Long Beach that it's it's a hole that ends and it overlooks Jared Weaver's bullpen at Long Beach State. And so I'm like, oh, I need a 5-wood for one shot because from 230, as well as I hit my 3-iron, I'm not hitting at 230. But I And these kids were like, "Oh, you're gonna shank the ball, you're gonna slice it or whatever." And like, I would love to talk S on this. I don't think that I've ever hit a slice in my life until the 14th or 15th hole at Westchester, and the slice was real. Like, so, like, I dropped the club. Like, I've never done that in my life. I don't know what happened. And it was the widest fairway. I have, like, 6 football fields wide.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all you got to do, like, I could have taken out my pitching wedge and just hit 4 wedges and got on the green. But instead, I'm like, I'm going to take out this driver. I was trying to pound it. I don't think, because the previous hole I had put it in the sand trap too. Oh, that was another one. This is the thing that was upsetting me on whatever. I know this is too much golf talk. This was my problem on Monday. I was hitting the ball too straight, except for that one tee shot that went into LAX. Like, really, I think the ball almost hit a southwest plane. But I was hitting the ball too straight and it was bothering me. Oh, I did kind of shank. Oh, but oh my God, that green. I know people don't want to know about this. Subscribe to my golf channel. I'll talk about it.
Please, I have a buddy. Please subscribe.
I have a buddy.
Hey, pal, subscribe. Yeah.
That I call. So my wife never has to hear this. So she's got a layer of this because my friend John Eric, who every time I play around, I drive home and I tell him, I'm like, and I've got this memory. Like, if I went and looked at the scorecard at Westchester, I could go through every shot that I had and do my strokes and do whatever. I have a weird memory like that, and I retain it for about a week. And I do it with my friend as I drive home. I'm like, because I always joke with him, like, if I ever get to play in the celebrity LA Open at Riviera, like, you're going to have to be my caddy and just stuff. So I go through and I tell him, like, I go through all these shots. I'm like, oh yeah. And then on 12, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I try to hit this ball and then whatever. And but it was good. Like, James, I will say this, I shouldn't talk so much about myself, is James had some moments of brilliance, and you're like, because you watched his swing, and this is no disrespect for you, and they're like, there's no effing way he's going to hit this ball. And then he would, like, pipe it. Like, and I can sometimes drive the ball, and James was consistently just out driving me. I'm like, damn, he is really putting a swing on that. The problem is, for a lot of people who don't play a lot, it's 100 yards and in. It's hard to have that touch if you don't play a lot or don't practice a lot. I've got a green belt outside of my house, so it's easy for me to do that. So I can practice those dumb, like, pitch and running an 8-iron shot. By the way, that golf course is awesome because I did that a couple times with 8-irons and it was pure and I didn't hit any weird spots or anything. So it rolled right up to the pin, which is a sign of a good golf course. But yeah, that is the other thing. But James Coe can tattoo a drive and it was pretty impressive. And that was Golf Chat presented.
Yes, presented by no one. Yeah, I stink, but I think that's enough of that, man. But
I'm sorry.
I think we've had a nice, healthy conversation. My dude, I gotta let you go because you got more important shows to get to, man. So
yeah, this must be Marcus because he did say see you in about an hour. Yeah,
see you in about an hour, right? So there you go. Anyways, for all my guys out there, man, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate you guys watching, and to everyone who's in the chats, we appreciate you. We're going to be clipping out parts of this show. You're going to see it on Adam Rank's YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, so clip off the golf chat for me. I want the golf chat. Yeah, I'll put the golf chat on my thing. Sorry for everybody who had to endure that.
But we will be back. Tackling Dummies will be back next Wednesday. We'll try to make it around 9, 10. We'll see.
I'll try to be better.
No. It's not. It really. I mean, come on. We're talking about a YouTube show. No one really cares what time we're up. But yes, for everyone out there, man, we appreciate y'all, and we will see you next week, man. Deuces.